Yo, what is up guys, Gray here, and today we have got our week 2 battle of the UPBA. We're going up against my good friend Jack, aka the Donphanatic, and I do believe this is the first Jack off on the channel, so if that doesn't get you excited, I don't know what will. First off, his team is absolutely disgusting. It's it's above my head. I have changed the layout a little bit, so I've got I don't know if I had face cam in the first video, but hey, I'm here now, so yeah, if you can't see, if you can't read, his team is Megalopony, Tyranitar, Reuniclus, Superior, Excadrill, Rotom Heat, Noivern, Alomomola, Gardevoir, Shuckle, and Haunter. And the first thing that comes to mind here is that I have nothing for sand offense. Like, literally my team just loses to sand offense. I have about 2 checks to Excadrill on my team, and at the same time, neither are really that ideal against Tyranitar. Tyranitar as well just destroys my team. It does so much damage. I don't really have any checks to it at all. And not to mention, then he's got Superior Reuniclus. And again, those two are just massive problems. Noivern is a huge problem for my team. And I was looking through, and it's like even Haunter and Gardevoir. Those two, if they bring those two, they're also just really good against my team. And so I didn't really have too much expectancy going into this one. I knew that I kind of just needed to play this perfectly if I was going to win, because I did a couple of mocks and I lost both of them quite convincingly. And then I did a mock against myself just to like check to see if my sets will work against his team, depending on like how I think he'll play. And I lost 5-0 to myself. So yeah, it wasn't looking good, and I had to make some kind of last minute adjustments to try and really get the most out of this team. And I think this is probably like the only team that can actually get anything from this battle. So getting into it, we've got Keldeo, Choice Specs, and looking at his team, I did think that Keldeo was actually pretty decent. It wasn't the best, especially considering things like the Noivern and Superior will outspeed me like 100% of the time, because I'm not going to be Choice Scarf. And if I run Icy Wind, there's a chance I give Superior a +1 speed boost, and that is not a fun time for me, not a fun time at all. And would actually kind of ruin my plan with a couple of other mons on my team. So I needed to not run Icy Wind, but a Scarf Secret Sword was just not doing enough. And I thought, you know what, he doesn't really have a switch into Keldeo particularly. A defensive Alomomola can, I guess a defensive Rotom Heat, if he makes the right prediction, can. Noivern, as long as I'm not packing the Icy Wind, I can 100% switch in as well. And I just kind of felt like, because he has such limited switch-ins, it's probably not a bad idea to run just Choice Specs and go all-out offense and try and break him. But at the same time, like I said earlier, I had no switch-ins to a Tyranitar at all. So I kind of had to make Keldeo my switch-in to Tyranitar, because it always scared him out unless he was a Dragon Dance variant and got to +1. And if that was the case, I kind of didn't expect him to be running Stealth Rocks if he's Dragon Dance. I've run that once, I've run Dragon Dance Stealth Rock, and it did kind of work out for me. But I didn't expect Jack to really go for that kind of set, because I felt like he would think he needed the coverage and go for Thunder Punch over Stealth Rocks. So if he didn't bring Tyranitar with Stealth Rock, I felt like he didn't bring Stealth Rock at all, which is quite nice against my team. I am running Unaware Clefable, just spoiler, but I am running Unaware Clefable, so not having the rocks up is actually ideal for my team. But yeah, I'm getting off on a tangent here. Keldeo is mainly just here to break through his walls. If he goes for a special defensive Alomomola, then Secret Sword has a chance to do like 2-hit KO, I think, or it does like 2-hit KO after Stealth Rocks and Secret Sword leftovers, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, it was basically my best way of actually taking it out if he runs a physically defensive set. Hydro Pump actually does a respectable amount of damage. I think a Scald would do like 30%, Hydro Pump does about 45. So other than that, I ran Toxic. I felt like if it's early game and he still has an Alomomola that I know can check me, I just click Toxic, and that is the best way of me crippling that Alomomola, because on his team he doesn't really have much in terms of defense, but Alomomola 100% was like his best check to a lot of my offense. So Toxicking it would really kind of stop it from being able to keep getting its regenerator, especially if I manage to set up my hazards. And yeah, after that, Keldeo kind of just goes in. It gets a kill pretty much every time that it comes in. It does check his Tyranitar, it does check his Excadrill to an extent. If he's not in the sand, then 100% it checks it. And it forces out a switch, so I'll be able to get a consistent damage out every time. But next up we have got a last minute change actually to the team. I've gone through a Choice Scarf Heatran, and it's a really weird set. I kind of needed something to be a check to Noivern, because I realised going into the battle I actually had very few checks to Noivern, so I needed a check to Noivern, a check to Superior, and a check to Gardevoir. And also I guess a check to Haunter as well. Reuniclus less so, because this actually is kind of set up fodder for Reuniclus if it's a certain set. But yeah, Heatran actually checks those three pretty well. And if I am able to, like, I could outspeed the Noivern. Like, I could have done that. I could have outsped a non-Choice Scarf Noivern, but I felt like I kind of checked it all right as it is. It needs to rely on hitting a Focus Blast to be able to do damage to me. And yeah, if it's running it's running Hurricane and Focus Blast, then it's running two pretty inaccurate moves, and there's a chance that it just misses a move and dies, pretty much. But I'm running a lot of special defense in this set, so I'm a really bulky Scarf set. I am speed creeping. What I believe his speed creep will be on Superior and maybe Noivern as well, because I do have a gap in my speed tiers that really allows Noivern to be able to run some decent bulk if he decides to speed creep my base 110 Mon, my Lycanroc, and Mega Latias. I think that's the only two. But yeah, if he tries to outspeed those two, then this Heatran will actually outspeed both, and that is absolutely ideal. Choice Scarf, with the investment I've got, as limited as it is, will actually do a ton of damage. Overheat is pretty much a guaranteed 2-hit KO on anything that's not called a Alomomola or Tyranitar. And Alomomola is a bit of a problem, but if it's not a specially defensive set, then Dark Pulse actually will be able to 3-hit KO it, and Flash Cannon will be able to 2-hit KO a max HP, no special defense Tyranitar. So this set is really just kind of here to be a bit of a failsafe against things like Superior and Noivern, more so than things like Gardevoir. I am definitely going to get outsped by Gardevoir if it is Choice Scarf, but I don't know, Choice Scarf in this matchup doesn't look great, and I do have my checks to it. So if it's Choice Scarf, it locks itself into Slice Shock, I can go into something. If I can go locks itself into Moonblast, I can go into something else. So it's not the end of the world, it's really not. But yeah, that's Heatran's job, is to pretty much bait special attackers into thinking that I'm not Scarfed. Mainly Superior actually. Superior goes for Leaf Storm, it's obviously going to do no damage. It's going to see that I'm quite specially bulky and not expect me to be Scarf. So then I just kill it in return with I think Lava Plume actually might just OHKO it. But I probably click Overheat just to make sure I get the kill and do damage to whatever comes in if he chooses to go into it. But next up we have got our dedicated lead, and that is Crustle with a Custap Berry. X is a Earthquake, Stealth Rock and Spikes, running Adamant Nature with decent amount of speed. I think that's enough speed to outspeed a uninvested Tyranitar, I want to say. And then the rest just dumped into HP and a couple in defense and special defense. This set is literally just a lead. I'm expecting him to lead off with Tyranitar if it's Stealth Rock. If he doesn't lead off with Tyranitar, trying to think what else I thought he might lead off with. He might lead off with Mega Lopunny, and I'm fairly sure Mega Lopunny cannot kill me with a Fake Out plus Drain Punch, and so that will then give me both Spikes and Stealth Rock. And if he doesn't run a Defolder, then we're in a really good place, because those two hazards actually do a really good job at whittling down his team. Alomomola loses 25% every time it comes in. If I can Toxic it as well, then it's losing pretty much like its Regenerator all in one go. So that would be ideal. X-Scissor is there for the Tyranitar and the Reuniclus as well as Superior, and then Earthquake hits the other things on his team like the Excadrill, and that's about it. It hits Excadrill and it hits Lopunny. So yeah, if I somehow manage to get a layer of Spikes and Stealth Rocks up, then I can just hit something hard with an X-Scissor or an Earthquake. And if he decides he wants to switch out of his Tyranitar, maybe fearing the X-Scissor, and go out into his Alomomola, then I can actually get up both my Spikes and the Stealth Rock and do some damage as well, potentially. Depending on what his Alomomola set is, of course. But that's pretty much all Crustle is here for. It's just to take some damage as a lead. It's got Sturdy, obviously, and get off as many layers of hazards as possible. And just hope that he doesn't, like... I was looking at his team and I was thinking he's probably not going to run any removal, because if he runs Rapid Spin on Excadrill, then he's lacking a coverage move to hit something on my team. Either won't have Earthquake for my Heatran, it won't have X-Scissor for the Rotom or the Mega Latias, it won't have Iron Head for the Clefable. So it seemed really unlikely that he's going to bypass Swords Dance as well, because Swords Dance just kind of wins after it gets an SD up. Seems unlikely he's going to bypass his Swords Dance or the coverage for Rapid Spin. And then the only other thing on his team that maybe will run Defog is the Rotom Heat or the Noivern. Noivern, again, I kind of felt like it was going to be Scarfed to outspeed a potential Scarf Keldeo, and that made me believe that probably isn't going to run Defog on that. If he did run Defog, then so be it, but I thought he'd probably want to run Hurricane, Draco Meteor, and Focus Blast, maybe Boom Burst as well, but more like a U-turn, I think, on a Scarf set. It also outspeeds half my team anyway, or most of my team anyway, so you may not run Scarf, but you still may run U-turn. And the only thing it really could run Defog is Rotom Heat, but I'm still taking 25% when it comes in on rocks, so yeah, I wasn't too worried about hazard removal. I was just looking to try and get as much value out of my hazards as I possibly could. Next up, we've got my dedicated Excadrill switch in, and this is only a dedicated switch in as long as he isn't. Something else on my team can switch into it as long as he isn't running Mold Breaker. That being my Mega Latias. Again, spoilers, just spoiling my team here. But yeah, this Rotom, I kind of went back and forth on this set for quite a while, and I ended up going with a Tangerberry and Volt Switch, Pain Split, Will-O-Wisp, and Light Screen, with kind of a speedier set. I think this is to outspeed a... What is this to outspeed? I can't remember. It's to outspeed something on his team. I want to say maybe it's a Jolly Tyranitar max speed, but it's... Volt Switch is my best move for a single attack, though he can switch in his Excadrill on it. He probably won't, because Will-O-Wisp and Pain Split. He doesn't want to risk getting burned, pretty much, so I don't think he's going to ever really switch in his Rotom on this. His Excadrill on this, and so I get a Volt Switch off on whatever I want. Pain Split, if it's in on a Alomomola, will give me my full health back if Alomomola is at full, and Will-O-Wisp obviously is there for the Excadrill. If I can Will-O-Wisp and then Pain Split on the Excadrill, then I can get a massive chunk off on it as well as burn it. And then Light Screen is just here because his special attacking mons are actually kind of scary. If I ever lose Heatran early on, then there's a chance I can just lose to, I don't know, like Specs Noivern or Specs Gardevoir, something like that. Even Specs Reuniclus would be really scary. So Light Screen is kind of just here as like a way to protect us against that. It does mean that I can then switch it into some of my bulkier mons and actually be able to threat them out. So yeah, Light Screen was just kind of there as a fourth move. I didn't really have a fourth move. I didn't necessarily want to run Defog because I want my hazards to be up, and I felt like with him not really wanting to run Rapid Spin, I could probably force out a Defog, and if he sets up his rocks, then for sure, like at that point I can just force out a Defog on him and he'll clear my his rocks for me. So I don't feel the need for Defog this week. So yeah, Light Screen just filled up that kind of void that I had on that fourth move. Next up, we've got Clefable with Unaware sets for the second week running. This one I felt I prepped slightly better. Like this one was more able to check the threats that it needed to. So it's here really for a special threats. Here, any Calm Mind set up on Gardevoir or Reuniclus, it's fine. It deals with Superior pretty well. I had to change the set around and go more specially defensive to be able to switch into it, but it can deal with it just fine. And on all of those sets, it can set up a Calm Mind. And if I can give setups like 2 Calm Minds, I don't know if he's going to switch in his Excadrill straight away on this, but if I get up 2 Calm Minds, something on his team kind of has to die. And if he doesn't get his Stealth Rocks up straight away, he won't know that I'm unaware. If he's running like a toxic Reuniclus, then that kind of sucks. but he may not want to run Toxic because Magic Guards kind of would wall it that way. But I don't know. If he runs Toxic on Reuniclus, then that's just unfortunate. Moonblast is the only move that I actually need. At +2, it will 2-hit KO an Excadrill. And yeah, Moonlight is needed because I need recovery, and I couldn't really run Wish this week. If he did run Toxic, then I needed something to get rid of the Toxic. So I decided to run Heal Bell this week as well. Moonlight is a bit of a problem because he does have the sand up. I only heal up 25% instead of 50%, but I can work around it, I'm sure. And it's still a bit of recovery, it's better than nothing. And not to mention that if he has a sand up, I don't think I want to be in with Clefable against either of his mons. I absolutely need to keep this thing around. If this goes down, then his Reuniclus can just go in, it can win. A Choice Scarf or a max speed, if he decides to go max speed Superior, will be able to just beat my team as well. So I really need to keep Clefable around for those sort of threats. It also is a late, like if I manage to keep it at full amount of health, it can actually kind of check Megalopony, and after a round of Stealth Rocks and Spikes, I believe Moonblast is almost a guaranteed 1-hit KO. 1-hit KO? Who says that? Guaranteed OHKO, and I don't think I go down unless he's Adamant Bulky. I think that's the only way he actually wins that 1v1, is if he's got like a good amount of bulk and is running Adamant, but then he doesn't outspeed things on my team, so I don't expect him to be running that set. But yeah, certainly Clefable is just here to be a check to his special mons. Also, I'm running enough speed to outspeed a uninvested Alomomola. As like I could outspeeding Alomomola is enough to outspeed an uninvested Tyranitar. And if he runs like speed on his Tyranitar, he's most likely going to run enough to outspeed something faster on my team, like one of my base 80s. So yeah, I don't think that he's going to be running speed or he's going to be running max speed. And lastly, we've got our Mega Latias with Surf, Psychic, Reflect type, and Roost. This set is almost entirely here to deal with likes of Megalopony and Excadrill. I know he's going to be running the X-Scissor, but if he's not in the sand, I can actually kind of bait that out and go for Reflect type. And once I've got Reflect type, as long as he isn't Mold Breaker, then Latias completely walls, like literally just hard walls his Excadrill. He cannot touch it at all. And same with his Tyranitar. If he's running he's not running Superpower, which kind of makes no sense. He's more likely to be running Earthquake. He's running Superpower. It's the only way he's kind of going to be able to deal with a Reflect type variant, because he's most likely going to go for a Dark type move, and that really puts me in a good position because I can just Reflect his type, take any hit from it, and then yeah, I can sorry, I'm blanking on my words here. I can Surf it in return. It really can't do a whole lot to me. Unfortunately, both of those are weak to Megalopony, so I need to be very careful around that, but at the same time, I can always switch out and switch back in, and then I check Megalopony again. An Ice Punch from Megalop does about the same as a return actually, but it does not 2-hit KO this set. Even after Rocks, I believe it's like a roll in my favour, like a very good roll in my favour to be able to live. And this time I'm running enough speed to outspeed, I want to say it's a speed creep on my Rotom Mow, because that was kind of like the only speed tier I could really deal with. And things like his base 100 mons, I want to say Excadrill is probably going to be there to outspeed Rotom Mow, and Haunter is the other one. Haunter probably is there to outspeed Rotom Mow as well. So being able to outspeed those two is also very nice. Surf, it hits his Excadrill and it hits his Tyranitar. If I Reflect type the I said this mon too many times in this video. If I Reflect type is Alomomola, then it gives me Stab Surf as well, and then I have actual Stab with Psychic that will do the most damage to things like Alomomola, to the Rotom, to the Superior, and also to the Megalopony. So yeah, as Showdown's decided that it's going to go ahead and crash, we'll end the team builder there, because that is the last mon anyway. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the battle in just a moment. Okay, second time lucky. The first time I recorded this, my game audio was far too loud. It was way louder than than my mic, so hopefully this time it is okay. But yeah, getting into the battle, as you can see, he didn't bring Superior, he didn't bring Gardevoir, he didn't bring the Rotom Heat. So I was looking at his team and I really didn't see anything on this team that looked like it was going to run Defog. Maybe the Noivern would, but even then, like, I doubt it. I think he needs too many moves for it to be able to run Defog, and it wouldn't have any reliable recovery, so actually my Rocks would be really handy against it. So yeah, looking at it, Crustle as it was before is always my lead, and that has not changed at all looking at this matchup. I kind of expect him to lead off with either Tyranitar or maybe even Noivern, just for like U-turn initiative, potentially Mega Lopunny as well. I'd certainly kind of overlooked Mega Lopunny a little bit in prep, but it's one of those things that if Latias, if Excadrill is checked by it, then at the same time Mega Lopunny is kind of checked by it as well. But yeah, let's get into the battle. Firstly, shout out to Lantern Joe. I don't think I shouted about in the first video, but he has recorded pretty much every battle for the UPBA so far, so like big shout out to him for doing all of that. And he also does it with the game audio, which I didn't realise when I recorded the first one, and it was super loud, but I do quite like it, so I'm going to keep it in, and hopefully it's just not like, it's not too loud. I have adjusted the volume a little bit, but as you can see, he leads off with his Alomomola, and I lead off with Crustle. I see a better opportunity to get spikes up. I'm not sure what he wants to go for. I'm assuming it's going to be a Scald, and Scald does like a good amount of damage to me, but if he's uninvested, it's not a 2-hit KO. So as long as he doesn't get the burn, I don't think I get 2-hit KO'd. I can get out my Spike and then I get out my Stealth Rock. However, as you're going to see by his damage, it turns out that he's actually Adamant Alomomola with quite a good amount of investment, and it turns out later in the battle it's actually Assault Vest. So an interesting bring for sure. Like, Alomola's attack stat is not the greatest, but we do get our Spike up, and I'm going to save my Crustle for later. If either the... Actually no, because the Alomomola outsped me, like that was, in hindsight, I should have had my Crustle outspeed Alomomola. I don't know why I didn't. But yeah, for some reason I got so transfixed on outspeeding Tyranitar, I forgot about Alomomola. There was only like an extra 20 EVs as well, and I would have been fine. But it is what it is. I can't get my Stealth Rock up as well. It would be fantastic in this battle because his removal options are very limited. But Spike is nice anyway. Spike is good. So I'm going to switch out because I want to keep my Crustle for later. I think that if I can get it in on his Reuniclus, I should outspeed it because I'm running quite a lot of speed. I think I outspeed like a max speed Reuniclus for my set, and I can get my Stealth Rock then. However, if the opportunity doesn't come up, it can be used as death fodder. And I'm going to switch out my Crustle into Rotom Mow, and unfortunately it goes for the knockoff in the long run. I don't think it's really going to matter too much, but here I'm just going to set up a light screen in front of a physical attacking Alomomola. I don't know why, but I didn't expect him to stay in. I expected him to be fearing Leaf Storm, or really like either of my stabs are good against it, so he wouldn't be staying in at all. And he goes out into his Noivern, which is fine for me because I know I can take any one hit with that light screen up, and I can just go ahead and Volt Switch. And he actually U-turns, and that U-turn damage shows me that he has not got any investment in physical attack. I don't remember if it was a negative nature or not, but judging off that damage, it probably was, because that was a fairly weak U-turn. And I get my Volt Switch off, and that is a good chunk. And looking at that damage, I know he's not especially defensive, which means either he is some kind of Choice Spec set, or he is Calm Mind. And I see the leftovers, so that kind of completely makes me believe that this is a Calm Mind set. And I expect him to go for the Calm Mind here, not knowing whether or not I'm unaware or Magic Guard. It seems like a kind of no drawback play, as I'm just going to go for the Calm Mind. I can Calm Mind up into this, Calm Mind on this thing whenever it comes in, and as you're going to see, that Slice Shock damage did nothing. But I didn't want him to go for a switch out into Excadrill on this turn, so to save and get a free turn into Excadrill, I go for a Moonblast. He actually just stays in. Not sure what he was planning to do with this. He's seen me get a Calm Mind up, he knows that I'm a Calm Mind set, unless he's going for Calm Mind for himself, but he actually just goes for another Slice Shock, and after that special attack drop, that's going to be doing very little damage, and after like a couple of rounds of leftovers, I'm actually going to be in about the same place I was before. and he's in a position where either he has to sack off his Reuniclus or he has to go out into something to take the hit. And again, I don't want him to go out into his Excadrill. It can actually take the hit quite nicely. And so I throw off another Moonblast. After the spikes and Moonblast damage, actually, despite it being a Assault Vest, I'm still in a pretty good place. Still, I can calm mind up on this thing. I know it can't 2-KO me. And actually, I think that Slice Shock did such little damage because of the light screen, because it's special attacks, isn't it? I didn't even think about that, but I don't think Jack did either when we saw that damage. It was like, well, I did literally nothing, but that will probably be because of the light screen. However, he does knock off my leftovers. I see that as a decent trade-off for being able to get a second Calm Mind up, because it does mean that this low molar is going to be 2-KO'd by it. If he switches in his Reuniclus, then that is also going to just drop to the Moonblast. Here I was really expecting him to go into his Excadrill, but as we get some kind of weird audio glitch on that Reuniclus, I just go for a Moonlight. I see it as kind of a no drawback play. He's going to be taking around the spikes on that Excadrill, but actually he just goes out into his Reuniclus, and apparently he was meant to be Regenerator, which makes no sense really on a Calm Mind set in my opinion, but he was Magic Guard instead. I don't think it would have mattered. I think he still would have just dropped to that. I don't think you could just sit there and keep switching between a low molar and Reuniclus and win that battle. So he's going to go out into his Excadrill. I did expect this. I have a check to it, and I kind of just want to get as much damage off on this as I can. If he doesn't have the X-Scissor and he's Z, then Iron Head isn't going to 2-KO me and I can get a burn off. But as you can see, he is Life Orb, and that's actually quite good for me. It's doing quite a bit of damage in return for him, especially in conjunction with those spikes. And he does reveal that he has the X-Scissor, so Rotom goes down, but it's not for like an absolute waste. I did get some good information on this. And it means that I can go out into my my Keldeo, and he has no switching. He has no switching to a Specs Secret Sword, and he goes out into his low molar, I think, expecting to take this hit, but no, max HP, no defense, it doesn't take the hit at all, and that's quite nice. We're now 6-5 up, and two of his bulkier mons are gone. He's left with just his offense, and I'm going to pause again. Like, obviously I'm going to switch out on a Noivern, but though he's only got 5v4 in this matchup, and the 4 that he's got left are kind of the only 4 he needs to win this game, so it's definitely not over by any means, and I need to keep playing around this Noivern and around the Sandcore as well as I can, because I am getting chipped away on my my Clefable. I'm just going to pause again. Yeah, my Clefable's getting chipped away quite badly, so I do need to keep it as healthy as I can, otherwise it doesn't deal with the Mega Loppet that ends up coming in late game. The only thing it's got left to deal with now is the Noivern, and at the range of that, it doesn't actually get 2-KO'd by a Hurricane, so we're actually in a pretty good spot and being able to check this. However, I see at this point, like, I can't outspeed anything left on his team. I don't see a point in which I'm actually going to be able to get my Crustle down to its Custab range unless he sets up late game rocks. And judging by the fact that he didn't lead with Tyranitar, I don't think he's actually a rocks variant. I think he is going to be Dragon Dance 3 attacks. So I'm going to go ahead and sack this off. He actually misses Hurricane, and sure, I could have switched out. Like, I kind of thought this was going to be Choice Scarf or Choice Specs, so I could have switched out into my Heatran, but misses suck, and I think like at this point I was sacking my Crustle anyway, so I was like, you know what, just click it again and I'll sack it off, because it's a Crustle. I'm not going to really get any value from it from the rest of this game, so yeah, I was fine with just sacking it off. And here I could have gone out into my Heatran and just done a decent amount of damage, especially because I thought it was Choice Scarf, and that was 100% my play. My play was not what I actually did. So I went out into my Clefable, and I kind of expected him to switch out, not want to take the Moonblast, because Moonblast was like 70 to 80%, somewhere around there I think the calc was. So I didn't expect him to want to stay in, and I go out into my Latias, so he's just going to throw off another Hurricane. So I guess he called that play. I'm fairly sure he did. He said, like, I didn't expect you to stay in, expected to read, or something along those lines. But that sucks, because that takes a lot of damage on my Mega Latias. It's not even Mega'd yet, so it can't take a hit on the switch particularly well. And I'm just going to double back out into my Heatran, as he actually just goes for the U-turn. And that puts him in a really good place. Had I just gone into my Heatran first, at this point it doesn't really matter if I reveal I'm Scarfed. I'm going to be able to do a ton of damage on something with Flash Cannon, as he has no resists left at all other than his Excadrill, but Excadrill after taking Spikes and Flash Cannon were taking way too much. But now I'm in a position where my Heatran is kind of just stuck in. I can't actually switch out against Tyranitar. And that Flash Cannon is actually going to do good damage. It does kind of prove my theory that he's going to be Dragon Dance, because I'm fairly sure that's uninvested. But the Earthquake is 100% going to just take me out. I haven't got Shucker Berry. I got like very little in defense investment, so yeah, I'm just going to go down to the Earthquake. And it does give me another chance to get my Keldeo in. And here Jack makes an interesting play, I will say. I don't know why, but he thought I was going to go for either the Water move or an Ice move. An Ice move to catch the I'm blanking, the Noivern coming in. And now I don't even have Icy Wind, so clicking Secret Sword there was my best play. As he just switches in his Mega Lock, and it's a good job I didn't actually put any prep into that thing, because yeah, it just dropped before even getting to Mega, so my lack of prep doesn't really come back to haunt me on that one. So he goes back out to his Noivern, and this thing is a pain in my ass, it really is. And I expected him to go for a Hurricane, trying to get some damage on my Clefable when it switched in, but instead he just goes for the U-turn. It makes sense, but at this point I know that his Sand is starting to fade away. I haven't actually seen any item off that Tyranitar, so I need to know kind of whether or not that thing is Smooth Rock or not, because at this point I think he has one turn of Sand left. So I'm going to go scout out to see what item that Tyranitar is, and if he's not Smooth Rock, I will be able to take this hit here and then Mega Evolve and Roost up. And as you can see, he isn't Smooth Rock, so this makes me quicker, and he isn't going to want to stay in. Like, he's going to expect me to have something for him and want to go back out into his Tyranitar, because that is kind of a safe switch for him. However, had I just gone for the Surf there, his Tyranitar would just die on entry because of the damage from Spikes. However, I felt it's probably better, in my best interest, to try and Roost up. And after getting this Roost, I'm kind of stuck in a position where it's a 50-50 as to whether he decides to go for the Stone Edge or whether he goes for a Crunch. And actually, as it turns out, his set was Crunch, Earthquake, Thunder Punch, and Dragon Dance. So he wouldn't have actually been able to touch my Latias at all if I had gone for a Reflect type hit. But it wouldn't have put me in the greatest position. It would have, actually no, it would have been in a pretty decent position. But it would have meant that his Excadrill would come back out and it gets super effective Iron Head, which is not ideal. I just go for the Surf anyway, because I think if the Stone Edge, if he has a Stone Edge, it's not worth my HP to go for a Reflect type, because it will still do like 40% to me. So at this point I go for the Surf, and it does put me back in range in which a X-Scissor can kill me. Prior to that, actually, X-Scissor was not doing enough damage. I think it was a roll. It was a good roll in my favour. However, after that Sandstorm damage, it's now a good roll in his favour. And unfortunately, he is going to take down my Mega Latias. And this puts us in, I believe, a 2v2 situation, where I kind of need to play this absolutely perfectly, because both of his Mons can kill mine, and in return, both my Mons can kill his. We're in a weird situation where like nobody can check each other without like switching in and out a lot. So I go out into my Keldeo, because I know that's the one thing that is going to actually make him switch out, is by going into Keldeo. So when he switches back in, he only has 2 lots of Life Orb and a lot of Spikes, or he wants to switch out again, he has 2 lots of Spikes and a Life Orb damage he can take. So his Excadrill is actually getting whittled down quite nicely, and after the Secret Sword damage, his Noivern will be in range of the Clefable's Moonblast. I could have just gone for Scald there, but I didn't know this Noivern set, and I don't really know. Is Noivern more specially defensive? I don't know if it is. I think it has the same defense and special defense. But yeah, at this point I had to do damage to Noivern, and I knew that Excadrill, as soon as it kind of gets worn down by a certain amount, it's not going to be able to come back in. Not to mention, making him switch out means that he's going to like waste his own turns of Sand, and that puts me in a great position, because then I outspeed him with my Keldeo. So yeah, lots of different variables going into these last few turns, and I'm going to switch out here. I expected him 100% to go for the Hurricane. It was a no drawback play. If he hits my Clefable with it, I'm fairly sure it's around 2-hit KO range. It will be a roll at least, and he can get the confusion, and that kind of puts us in a position where it comes down to hacks basically if he wins or not. But instead he goes for the U-turn. It does kind of make sense as well to get his extra drill back in on the last turn of sand. So after that, sorry, no, it doesn't get the sand. It's out of sand, but it does make sense to get the extra drill back in. However, I think he just clicked Hurricane twice and got a bit of luck. I think he just wins from that position because, yeah, my Keldeo can't do anything against it. However, Keldeo can do something against this Excadrill. However, Earthquake is going to do a hell of a lot of damage. However, the defense investment I put into this Keldeo is coming through. It makes me live. And yeah, I'm going to go for a Scald. It seems like a no drawback play. If he wants to go out into his Noivern, I just let my Keldeo die then, because Excadrill goes down to spikes, and his Noivern would take about 40% again from that hit, and puts him in range of pretty much anything. If he gets burnt, even better, because that means I can potentially just stall it out with Clefable. But he's going to go for his Z Draco here. There's absolutely no reason for me to try and switch out. Like, I could have tried and predicted this for whatever reason, but if he just clicked Hurricane twice on my Clefable, I actually lost the game. It was 100% not worth it. He's going to use his Z to take out my Keldeo just because. I think he just wanted to get it off. Probably just for a good thumbnail, but at this point I'm in a good position because my Clefable just needs to be able to take a hit, not get confused, and then hit it with a Moonblast. No matter how bulky he is, Moonblast will kill from this range unless he's like max special defense as well. And fortunately we don't get the confusion and we do pick up the win. So good game to Jack. That was actually a really close one. The matchup I really didn't think I was going to win, but Jack seemed less confident of it. I think I played this one about right. I don't think if I played it any differently I could have won. The only thing I could have done was definitely keep my Heatran around for the Noivern, because it was a decent check to it. I know it had Focus Blast, but at the same time it's still a decent check. And actually after the Mega Lopunny gun went down, Heatran was not bad. It was pretty decent. It could 2-hit KO everything on his team at that point. But it is what it is. We still pick up the win. So we go to 1-1 -3, I believe, after that just abomination of a performance against D in week 1. And yeah, good game to Jack. We actually face him again next week in the APA Little Cup, so if you're looking forward to that, then make sure to check it out. And if you enjoyed the battle, please do leave a like. The support is greatly appreciated. But without rambling on too much, I'm going to end the video there, and have a great day, guys. Peace.